About a year and a half ago, we were thinking about, this idea of what's happening right now in the news. We're coming up on a few 50-year anniversaries, which is always a good moment to sit and reflect and, what's changed in that time. A lot of the things that I think we thought about during the making of this show was the major things from that time. So, we look at the Vietnam War, what's been held on to since then, what stories are still to be told from that time locally, and what was brought back. But then you also have things that haven't changed a lot. We've got items in this exhibition that focus on something like the Equal Rights Amendment and what were people doing here in the state to challenge their local congressmen, people who are in political power, to say we need to see some change.
Be persistent.
This is the way the public finds out things, Mayor.
Deliver it first.
And again, 50 years later, maybe not much has changed in a lot of people's eyes. So I think bringing attention to the fact that while the mediums of how people receive their news has changed a lot, in a certain way the news itself hasn't changed all that much.
Get this in, we gotta have it on 6 o'clock.
There's a whole story in the 70s that can be really delved into, whether it's the ethics of what journalism meant and was at the time, whether it's the pioneers, the trailblazers, or even just the major, events. It's the time of the Vietnam War. We also have Watergate, Nixon, everything happening nationally, then also had an impact here, right here in New Mexico, and tie into that all of the things that make New Mexico unique, and you have a really amazing sort of set and scene for what happened and unfurled in those 10 years.
What happened on this Sunday and the films you are about to see are actual news films taken from the files of KGGM TV in Albuquerque. A number of patrol cars were totally destroyed as the rioting citizens literally picked up the patrol vehicles, turned them over, and then set fire to them.
It was an interesting time. We're coming out of the 60s where there's been a lot of social change nationally. And I think a lot of folks in New Mexico said, this is great, but it's not gone far enough. There's things like we talked to folks at the Black Beret movement from that time who are still activists today. A lot of the time, it's the alternative journalism that was made at that point that really stood out to us in terms of what do we want to display, what stories can we tell that maybe not everyone knew about.
The major organizer of the demonstration was the Black Berets, but also getting top billing were Lieutenant Governor Roberto Mondragon and Attorney General David Norvell.
I want to reiterate what I said about the Black Berets. There are some Chicano brothers here who feel that we should be yelling people power, and ultimately, we want people power. But let the Chicano find his Chicanoism alone together. Every time a hippie throws a rock, it is a Chicano that gets killed.
All of us who worked at the Journal, and I'm sure at the Trib, feel we were fortunate to be in the trenches at that time because we had the backing. I mean, it's real backing where they have lawyers even if you get in trouble. But they had the financial resources to send you out of town, to maybe give you a car. Now, reporters, they're on their own. They got to have their phone, they're using their own equipment.
When news happens, you'll see it happen on News 4.
We also have trailblazers, like the first female general manager at KUAT, for example, Marilyn Roper, who became a force at that time. You also have Sharon Irish, who would then lead KUNM as well on the radio. So these voices didn't go away and became national figureheads, and they were right here in New Mexico.
Because first you had to get the film back to the station and then process it.
We're gonna have this film for 6.
Sorry, man, you're too late.
But now there's Eyewitness News Minicam. TV4's...
The museum put that Susan Landon and I are pioneers, and that kind of embarrassed me because I felt like the pioneers were Val Cooper of the Farmington Daily Times, who was the first woman editor in New Mexico. Frankie McCarty, the one who really got me my job at the Journal, was the first managing editor at the Albuquerque Journal and one of the first in the nation. But then I thought about it, and I think we were pioneers as part of a huge influx of women journalists. We were the first who were there when there were lots of women, and they weren't just in the society page.
Good evening. First at 5:30 tonight, a tragic accident.
The world hadn't quite adjusted yet to women being reporters. It could be an advantage where they would not take you seriously and maybe say things that they didn't think you'd run with. One time I was covering a federal court case, and the lawyer for the defense came up to me in the hallway during a break and said, "You should be home cooking for your husband." And this was in the court of H. Verl Payne, federal judge, and he actually had a sign outside the courtroom that said, "Women in pants will not be allowed in the court. You had to wear a dress." Because we were still covering like a mostly all-male world, I was fortunate to join New Mexico Press Women. When we'd have a conference, there would be 10 tables, and each table was full with female reporters from a paper. It shows you how robust journalism was then. Los Alamos Monitor, Santa Fe New Mexican, Taos News, Hobbs News Sun, Deming Headlight, Silver City Daily Press. I mean, those are just some of the women. Not everyone was a press woman. So we were part of this wave of journalists, women journalists.
The news continues in just a moment. Tom and Carla will be
And then I was blown away by the folks who I reached out to, who were journalists at that time, or maybe new journalists, worked in stations, who said, "Oh, well, hang on, no, we might have one more thing in our collection that we've held on to, because a lot of the equipment, goes out of date. Why would you keep an old camera 10 years later? You're not going to use it." So a few of those things, we have mics, radio mics from folks who were live on air at KUNM in the 70s. We managed to grab those. Televisions from the time that we've, rewired and tried to show black and white footage. And then there's a couple of different groups too. New Mexico Press Women have been phenomenal throughout all of this process. From the start, I think I reached out just kind of maybe blindly hoping that they'd maybe have some books from the time or something. And no, they went 10 better and said, "We've got folks who kept a hold of their notebooks, their grease pencils, and we can show you how journalism was at that time."
Bill was punched in the face, breaking his eyeglasses. I was kicked, but I protected myself with a camera, and only the lens was damaged.
We're very thankful to all the folks we worked with. The stories and the people on the board, a lot of them were still around to tell their side of the story. So we're hoping another thing that, makes this exhibit maybe a little unique compared to other history exhibits looking at centuries, a long time ago, is that these people could tell their story. And so we listened, and this has been a great space in this community exhibit space to showcase the people's stories and why news was for the people.